Boom, 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 boom. Getting everything set up. How is everyone doing? Everyone, good afternoon, or good evening, no, good or good morning, I guess, or good evening. Cool. Yep, I sound exactly the same. Let's get some music on. I always think that's too loud. That's better. Yeah, feeling good, feeling good. Had a pretty decent day at work. Didn't feel too bad. Anyway, how is everyone? So yeah, new expansion for Hearthstone. I know I've been doing a lot of Hearthstone recently, and it's not on purpose that I'm doing a lot of Hearthstone. Well, no, it is on purpose, but like, it happened to be that I did like the one that I normally do, and then a new expansion came out, and I found a really fun way of playing that's different to my normal way of playing. Because I don't normally get into the ranked stuff, right? I don't normally get into the competitive side. Mainly the biggest reason for it is you need to buy all the blimmin' cards, and it's not cheap. Like, it's not a cheap game. It's how they make a lot of their money. It's effectively a mobile game if you think about it, in terms of the level of like stuff they do. Anyway, let's just do a quick transition. Boom, boom. So what I'll be doing today is we'll be doing regular Hearthstone, but I dusted a load of things that I've gotten over the years, just from like doing battlegrounds or duels and stuff, and getting quests and getting packs from doing the tavern balls that aren't specifically around building a deck, which appear more and more often. And I've gotten all the way to Silver 8, which isn't incredible. Right, look. I started like below bronze and I got to here. It's not like I'm at these levels. It's not like I'm at gold or platinum or diamond, but silver's normally, honestly, what I get to in a lot of games. It's where you actually have to start thinking instead of just, not having the... It's where you actually have to start learning about the inner workings of a game a lot of the time. And I give up immediately when that happens. So it just gives you not a random deck. I guess that's a bit... I guess I've been a bit, like, deceiving there. It's not a random deck. There's a bunch of set decks, and it chooses a random version of those. So it's not completely random cards. Damn, that's a cool avatar. But I don't know, for me that looks more like a rogue, like a magic rogue, than it does, a mage, in my opinion. But, to each their own, right? Anyway, it's been a decent week. Not a ton of stuff has happened, but it's been a nice and simple week, which you can't complain about, right? Oh, what do I take? That. I probably should have taken the second copy of that, because it just means that like nothing bad's happened. I'll take this one. So yeah, as you can see here, this is the special effect that I got for this one, is that I only have 20 cards, when normally you have 30. What's this? Oh, it's that thing. So yeah, that's the special effect, and I'll be honest, a lot of the special effects, quote unquote, are just kind of like, I'm not gonna say bad, but I will say like, they're just like, all these characters are all of these cards are themed around a certain expansion or something, right? So not incredible. But this is one of the more unique ones. Anyway, let's have a quick talk about what's happened since we last did one of these. So, Monday obviously happened. I think we were playing some Battlegrounds. We actually got a win. I'll be honest, I always used to say, oh, this time we'll get a win, this time this will be different. You know, I never actually thought that was going to happen. What do I want to get rid of? A 3-3? Yeah, get rid of the 3-3. I never actually thought it would happen, but it did. And honestly, I feel great because of it. Absolutely incredible. So that was really fun. Also, I had someone in chat, I had Onyx in chat, who's a good friend of mine, and just having somebody that you can sort of like, you know, talk to in none of these things is, I never realized, well, I did know, but like, when there's a card and okay, that's fine, but like, it does make it a lot better. It makes you it very much makes you appreciate the sort of interaction, and so that was fun. Then we skipped to Tuesday. Nothing really happened Tuesday. We got to Wednesday, and we got sort of hit a roadblock on our Rogue Trader game. So you know how I don't. Obviously, there's no way of me knowing if you've been watching it, but our Rogue Trader game has kind of been going pretty well. We hit a point where not really any fight is like a problem. Any of the bosses I've been fighting, they've had a gimmick, and I've not even needed to care about the gimmick because I've just instantly killed the guy. Right? It's to that level. Well, instant killing is kind of a bit of an overstatement. More like it never feels like I'm in a dangerous situation. God, that was annoying, but oh well. So damn, they just killed it. So I was sort of just scouting through the whole thing, like it wasn't really a big problem. That's not a card I care for. Do I play this? I really... Yeah, we have to go for the game plan, even though we're going to lose one of the big guys. Yeah, we lost. Oh no, we got him! Why did we draw him? Oh, because we... That's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, we were doing perfectly fine, and then we've gotten to this point where the Drukhari have attacked, and God, it's the Drukhari on land. They're perfectly easy, same as everything else, right? But I dealt with a ship battle trying to defend one of my planets, and I just got destroyed, absolutely destroyed, and I didn't know what to do, and then. Seriously, I was getting to a point in the game where I was like, have I hit that point with it that I was worried would come up with like Pathfinder, the Pathfinder game where, let's see, 3, 4, oh, I'm already dead. With the Pathfinder game where I just hit a point where I couldn't beat anything. I was just sitting there, and I couldn't beat. Like I was literally hitting. All of my guys were hitting one dude, and he was taking like no damage. And it's because I fundamentally didn't understand a part of the game. And I had just been brute forcing it unintentionally until then. So I was really worried that it was going to get to that point. But I was talking to Onyx actually after the fact, and I was just like, God, this fight was so hard. Did you have a problem with this? And he was like, No, I that was easy. It wasn't a big problem for me. And then I was talking to him more, and he was like, Hey, do you have any upgrades? And I said like, Yeah, I got like an upgrade to my hull from like a shop, and then I got an upgrade to my weaponry from like no, I was saying that I got an upgrade to my hull and my weapons from just scraps, like killing ships. And he was like, wait, have you not used the shop? And I was like, there's a shop? And apparently, there was a mechanic, and he said he's told me, and I do believe that there's a very good chance that he has told me about this. But apparently there's just a shop where you can buy ship upgrades. Where you can sort of do reputation with a bunch of the factions, and I knew about getting the reputation up and like getting new items, but I thought you had to travel back to where you met them. Whereas actually you can just talk to a guy on the ship and say, hey, I want to talk with the factions and like learn what they do, and then you can just like that you can get a bunch of upgrades for your ship that are like significant apparently. And so also apparently there's an upgrade you can do to your planet that allows you to do an upgrade to your planet that allows you to get like a supporting fleet, like a little ship that's with you, which I also didn't know about. I mean, I'll have to look into that. I normally don't have the resources for doing these things, but maybe because one or two of the upgrades have been reputation based that I haven't been able to do. God, that saddle up seems like such a good ability. So yeah, it's been interesting. So I don't think it's the end for that series. I think there is more I can do with that series that which is really fun, because I was having a lot of fun with that, and then I hit that roadblock, and I was sort of worried that I had hit some sort of problem with it. But knowing now that that's a thing, I'm really happy now that's become a thing. That's true. But we'll see. I don't know. That's a 2-4, is it? Well, this seems like the only appropriate thing to do. Get you, then get rid of you. I know you're going to summon another one, but there's nothing I can really do about that. So yeah, that was good. I was really good to learn about that. And then I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I started playing some Fallout just to be like, okay, is this game any good? Like, sorry, let me rephrase that. Obviously, it is a good game because, I mean, it got critically acclaimed. I played some Fallout 3. It's critically acclaimed, well, like, it's up there as, like, one of the go-tos for games, right? So, obviously, it's a good game. But I was just like, okay, is it for me, and has it stood the test of time, right? So, I played some of it, and I gotta say, there is a lot of quality of life things that I think I'm used to that isn't in that game. And I don't know, it just doesn't run well on my computer. Now, admittedly, maybe there's some changes I can do, or maybe some mods I can get to make the game run better. In fact, I know there's mods that can make the game run better, because I'm pretty sure it's got a very good modding community around it, like Vegas does, and like Skyrim obviously does. But I'm playing it on Game Pass, because why would I spend money on something if I can get it for you know, not free, but for something I'm already paying for, right? And so I've been playing it on Game Pass, and it's kind of hard to find a way to. It's harder to get mods to work when you're playing on Game Pass. There's some exceptions, of course. Like I've had games work on. Oh god, that's bad. I've had games work on. I've had mods work on like. What's the word? I've had games work on Minecraft, but Minecraft is its own sort of browser, and so I think it maybe is a different sort of, for lack of a better word, it's like a different kettle of fish, that one, because it's its own thing. What was this one? Oh, for the rest of the game, your spells cast twice. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I go back to it. But I'm not really too fussed about it. It's one of those ones that doesn't really appeal to me now anymore. Especially now that I found something else to play, which was I played a bit of, I think it's called Scorn. Effectively what it is it's what if you wanted to do I double attack into that? What do I get for this? Yeah, let's do it. It's what if you wanted to play Hades with your friends, co-op, and that immediately is something that gets into my head, is like, this is what I want to do, because I've always said co-op is the difference maker between me playing a game and not playing a game a lot of the time, because it's this huge buff when I'm playing with friends where I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter really what happens. I'm playing with friends. I'm having fun no matter what. And so I played that very briefly with my friend. And that game's really good. Really, really fun. It was a quick alpha. I think it's gone now, sadly. But I think they did a bit of a tournament with a bunch of YouTubers. So if you want to like have a look at that game in action, I'd give that a look. But it's a really fun game. I'd highly rate it, and I don't know. I thought that both the art style, because I absolutely love darkest fantasy stuff like that, the more grounded fantasy stuff. I kind of just love fantasy in general. So the art style and the sort of lore behind it, the whole idea of like the Arthurian legend, but this is after like Arthur takes the throne and he gets corrupted, and you're going out to sort of deal with him. Such a cool aesthetic, such a cool idea. And me personally, I rated that, the whole experience, pretty high up, pretty high quality. So I played a bit of that, and then my friend convinced me to try out for the first time, because I'd never played it before. I've never played any of this series, actually. Play Monster Hunter Rise. Now, I've always looked at like Monster Hunter games, and they've sort of been like, I've not been like against them per se. Wait, your next two? That was a mistake. I could have put them out the other way and got an extra Murloc. What a shame. I've just never been interested in them. I've looked at the sort of like loop of it, and it felt kind of like, what if I was playing an MMO, but to me there was no, I don't know, it didn't have the same appeal to me as an MMO, because in MMOs the bit I'm never like, this is what I'm playing it for, is I'm never playing it for the grind for gear. That's not the bit I'm like, you know what, this game would have been good, but if it's this grind for gear that they don't have, that's the big problem. Like, that's never the thing. I'm never thinking that, right? And it felt very much like that game, at least from an outside perspective, was all about effectively grinding out these monsters for gear. And so, and also I've never been very interested, or very good, really, if I'm being honest, is the main reason behind. I've never been good at sort of like action RPGs, the ones where you have to react to what's happening. And so when I wasn't feeling incredible about playing it, but I knew that I'd have that buff that I was talking about of it being co-op, which you can play through. I've only been playing it co-op, and so TLDR, I'm having a good time with it. Like, I've been playing, I chose a weapon instantly. I just went, these look cool, I want to give them a try, and I liked them. So I'm playing the dual blades, and I just go around hitting them over and over again, dodging out of the way of stuff. Well, trying to dodge out of the way of stuff. Statistically, I've not been doing very good at actually dodging anything at all. Oh, that was genius. Well done. I see people have figured out a meta, and this is the meta for Hunter. It's aggro like they always are. But yeah, I've been playing through it. I've been doing okay. I'm at like rank 2, or what's it called? Like, it's effectively rank 2, and there's this Magma Droth or whatever it was called, and I can't beat it with my friends. So I'm just sort of getting my gear sort of prepared to fight it, you know, hunting the stuff that are weak, that have damage types that he's like weak to. But yeah, I still don't know if it's a game I'll be playing regularly, because I don't know if I don't know if it's specifically one of those, how to say it, I don't know if it's one of those games that I'm only having fun because I'm with friends. And so I need to check to see if it's my friends being there and everything that's the reason, or whether it's the actual game that is actually entertaining for me. Either way, we'll see. But yeah, it's been interesting to play. I might try and switch weapons just to see if I like just to see if I would like. I think this might be AI. Just to see if I might like some of the other ones. Maybe not, but they might have programmed that. I don't know, both mine and his name look like names you auto-generate, but then again, that could just be that they've been auto-generated. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. That's mostly what I've been playing over the weekend. It's just been that. Obviously, we had the Friday stream as well, getting back on track to like going through the days. That one was quite fun. Every time I play that game, I'm just like, every time I play Dawn of War, I'm just like, wow, this game, I can see why it's still beloved by a lot of people. Dawn of War 2, it's like, of the two, they were both freakish, like, they were both completely different. One of them being like a small squad-based one, and one of them being more the traditional real-time strategy, kind of like a StarCraft kind of thing. But both of them are fun. I think, me personally, I prefer the second game more than the first, but that's mainly because, if I'm being honest, I don't like controlling a load of units. And so having access to 2 units to play in the campaign just makes me feel so much better. But yeah, that game's been real fun, and just streaming with my friend as well. It's a completely different experience, but I do like it. I'm glad that we're having an experience with that's different to what we did before. Because what we had before was we tried to do some EDF and it did not go well. The game just... the servers aren't there anymore, and I don't really blame anyone for that, because it's an old game and there's like at least 2 games that have come out after that game that, you know, they're exactly the same game except slightly different. Because I think we were playing like EDF 5 and there might be like EDF 6 or something at this point. God, this deck itself has a severe lack of actual creatures. In fact, that might be the only creature. Anyway, so yeah, that's been fun. That's been real fun to do. I didn't realize how early you got like the Terminator armor. I thought it would be much later, but I guess we are 1/3 of the way through that particular portion. But yeah, I've been getting that hankering that I occasionally have to just go build a giant... I don't know if this is just me, but this happens a lot, where just every so often I'm just like, I just kind of want to go build something big in Minecraft. Just randomly. I'd be like, I know that's a bit weird, but I want one more 3-3. I just want to go build like a monument in Minecraft, so I definitely want to get back onto doing some Minecraft. I don't think I've done a stream of Minecraft before, or maybe I have, maybe one. But either way, that game is... God, that game is good just to randomly play, and luckily I can get mods on. Also, another thing that's lucky, we haven't been dropping any frames this time around. I did worry for a bit that it wasn't... I worried what I was going to do if it wasn't the actual... If it wasn't the... How do I word this? If it wasn't actually the internet that was the problem, and instead it was the problem with, like, my computer or something. And that was a bit worrying, because I'm already not streaming at like full quality, because my internet can't handle it. But luckily, I haven't gotten a notification about dropping frames. So luckily that it seems like this is fine. Anyway, one of the things that came up in the stream I did on Friday is, as is the popular topic at the moment, we started talking about Dragon's Dogma, because I think everyone and their mum is talking about Dragon's Dogma at the moment, and I thought I'd use this time to give my sort of 2 cents on the whole thing. So initially, what I learned about Dragon's Dogma, other than obviously it was quite anticipated for a long time. God, another Bladestorm. Was that I heard and misunderstood from one of my friends that they said you effectively had to pay for a safe spot. Pay for the ability to put down a safe spot. I now know that was me misunderstanding. Because it's not that you have to pay for a save spot, it's that you have to pay for a save spot if you want to get it earlier than you would normally get it. which still isn't great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, it's fine because it's actually, you can actually get it normally. It is insane to do that, but that is some preferences. If you had asked me like a couple of days ago, I would have gone, it's insane, they're making you pay for a save spot with no way of getting it in the game. You can get those in the game. But what I will say is there is a couple of things in the shop that you can't get in the game, which I think is annoying, which do improve your experience. They are just like, it'll be like a backpack, but it costs less weight, or something like that. And for me, that kind of stuff, it's not the right thing to do. I talked about a bit of this on my on the Friday stream, but I think there's 3 levels of microtransactions for me. There's microtransactions that are just cosmetic. There's microtransactions that are just there's microtransactions that are pay to win. So you when you purchase them, you are getting yourself an advantage that most people normally do not get. And then there's microtransactions that are just sort of like, there's pay to win, there's convenience, and then there's just cosmetic, right? Those are the 3. And admittedly, this what I think of the worst being obviously the pay to win, and the least worst to be cosmetics. And this one is sort of the middle one. But I will say that doesn't excuse it in any capacity, because it's a single player game for one, and for 2, like any form of microtransactions, especially for a game that is blimmin' like full price, like it's 60 or so quid, right? That's a full price game. Who in their right mind is paying that much and then also getting the fact that and also then having to then pay more for convenience? I can understand DLCs. I can understand even to a certain extent cosmetics. Like, I don't really understand the appeal of cosmetics in a game where you're not playing it with people, but I can understand that why you'd want to, like, I don't see the appeal of them, but I can understand why you'd buy them. But to make them convenient things, like things that make they have taken a game that was fully formed and gone, we're gonna strip this back a bit just so we can make more money by selling the bit we stripped off. That to me is insane. And then I heard that it's impossible to make a second character effectively. So obviously in most games you have a save, you create your character and then there's a save slot for that character, and then and normally it's just as simple as going, okay, I'm going to choose a new saved I'm going to choose a new save. How much does this cost? 4. Perfect. I'm going to just put it in a different save slot, make a new character, and that's that. Now apparently in this, you don't get that. You have one save, it's saved on the cloud, and you can't then restart and change your character's appearance. That's insane. That's actually insane, especially for a single player game. It really pisses me off, because it's like, this is so horrendous. It goes further than just, I'm going to make your game worse so that I can make more money, and just goes into the level of like, it just goes to the point of like, I'm actively making a choice to make your life, to make your experience worse. And I don't know, but to me it seems insane. And the fact that they were able to do this, and the fact that, annoyingly, because of how well that game is done, it doesn't matter now that some people are pissed, because they made the most. They had the highest grossing thing ever, for a single player game that they've ever made. So it's like they're going to do it again. It just makes absolute business sense to just do the thing again. It's so annoying, but it's true. And it just means that we're stuck in a situation where this might be the norm for like, take for example, I'm like, okay, I want to try out the new, let's say Baldur's Gate, although I don't think Larian would do this kind of thing. But let's say Baldur's Gate, because that was the biggest RPG of last year. And I just go, okay, I want to buy Baldur's Gate 4, even though it's not happening. Because they specifically said that it's not happening. You're like, okay, I want to buy Baldur's Gate 4. And then imagine then it goes, okay, cool, you've chosen your class? Well, that's the only class you can play. Good luck. You're stuck with that, and we're going to save it on the cloud, so you can't even, delete your own saves to try something else. I don't know, it's, to me, it's insane for that to be thought about and then continually done. But actually done. I can't believe that. It really annoys me. Because I had a lot of hopes for that game. That was, if I'm being completely honest, that was probably going to be the... It's probably going to have been the next game that I would have played in the spot of Wednesday. So when eventually I finished Rogue Trader, I was going to go, okay, well then after Rogue Trader, I'm going to go then play a Dragon's Dogma, because it's out and it's new and it'd be interesting to play, right? But now I'm just in a situation where I'm like, I don't think I want to play it. Never mind the also added thing of apparently the game's incredibly poorly optimized. And so in addition to having to deal with the fact that you've got a game that, wow, that's pretty damn good. In addition to having a game that has microtransactions in it, for a single player game, which I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but it's insane to me. Not only do you have to pay that premium on a single player game, you also are in a situation where the game will not run unless you've got a really high powered system. It won't run well. And so it might crash on you. So you might not even get to play the game properly. Which is really, really annoying. For lack of a better word. It gets on my nerves a lot. I just didn't think it would leak into single player games, but I guess they're in a situation now where they're like, well, there's no real reason for us to make these non-single player games, because they don't make the money that we want. So how about we turn these single player games into games that we can actually make money off? Which, it's horrendous to think of, but I think it's very likely that that was the mindset. It was like, look at this game, it did so well. What was in that game? Well, there was microtransactions that mean that like we make a load of money. I mean, you look at mobile games, and as much as I don't particularly, I'm not a big fan of them. They okay, I'm just gonna leave. I thought that that would act differently. As long although I don't like them, it's a situation now where they make so much more money. I was looking at a video, and it was about Diablo Immortals, and it was talking about all the bad things about it, and it is horrendous. There's some of the stuff they do in Diablo Immortals, but then they also ended with like it made more in a couple hours than like an expansion of World of Warcraft did. Now, obviously, they're not at the height of their fame that they used to be, but they're still the most popular MMO. And the fact that it's still in a situation where they made more money off of this reckless cash grab than they did off of their MMO, that's their big flagship product, shows that at the end of the day, this is what the future's gonna be. And I was hoping it would take longer to get here, if I'm being honest, because I can't get in the mindset. I've never been a person who buys microtransactions in my games. Never have been. I played Omega Strikers for such a long time, and that game has the ability to get your cosmetics, and that's how they make their money. It's like I understand it for them because the game is free, and so that's how they make the money. They have to make the money somehow, right? Can't expect to get the game completely for free. And the fact it's literally just like characters and cosmetics, but you can earn it in the game. It's like it's one of the better ways of doing it. But yeah, I don't know. I was playing that, and I played it so much, and I never bought a skin. And do I kind of regret that now, because the game went out for like they're not doing like as much stuff for it anymore? Maybe. I do regret that, but let's play these two. I like getting 2 whelps a turn. But yeah, it's one of those things where if this becomes the norm, it's going to severely lessen my ability to lessen my enthusiasm to play a game. And annoyingly, it will become, there will be people that will be born, and the people who will get into games that will just assume that that's normal. That's the sad thing. We will get to a point where that's assumed to be normal, and because it's assumed to be normal, we'll be looked at as the weird ones. It's like how when I was starting out gaming, before I had a bit of a break, the norm was that games were like 30 quid, and 30 quid was expensive. And then when it moved up to 40 quid, that was the big change, and they were like, oh god, this game is so expensive. Like they must have done something extra in this game for it to be worth the amount of money they're asking us. That used to be the big thing with it, and now it's blimmin' on average like 60. Like it's on average like 60 quid, and that doesn't come across as weird to the average person, which I think is insane. What is this? Oh yeah, I remember. But yeah, it's like that's just what's gonna happen. That's just gonna be the norm soon. I think the Larian Studios, in fact, what was his name, Sven, the head of it, brought it up quite cleanly in like one of the award ceremonies he was going to, whereas he was talking about everything in the world is like, it's incredibly business-like, and so everything's about the bottom line. It's like making sure that this game continues to pay you over and over and over again is becoming the new norm with it. And so you have situations like this, and it's really annoying as a consumer, because it's just objectively worse than what it used to be. Like, I know that people always go like, oh, back in the day it was so much better, but in this situation it just strictly is. Because the alternate is that... What's this guy? Oh, that's cool. The alternate is this situation where, like, the only advantage of this one versus the old style, which was... The only advantage that this has over the old style is that people... have a situation now where the game will always get stuff added, right? That's the only advantage. What does this box do? Does he just win in 5 turns? Is that the logic? Okay. I don't like that. I'll play this guy. I'll play this. I can't even give it to you. I'll play this. Okay, I'm dead. I'm definitely dead. I can't do 28 damage in blimmin' in these turns. Especially when you can do that and just freeze everything. Yeah, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. He might kill me before the timer runs out. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I am ranting when it comes to this, but it's just true. It's just one of those things that gets to me where it's like, I don't think I'm gonna win this. I don't want people to assume this to be the norm, and it's sadly is becoming it. On a silver lining, though, I heard a rumor that Diablo 4, which I always wanted to give a try, is coming to the Game Pass. And if that's true, that would be great, because Diablo 4 is something I've always wanted to give a try, but I never gave it a try because I don't know, I felt a bit iffy giving money towards Blizzard, especially when it was in its proper bad time. That's a 2 and a 3. I keep in those. 5's probably also useful. Probably don't want that. I always felt a bit weird giving money to them, because all of the stuff was coming out about like the horrendous practices and all of the things they were doing. Diablo Immortals had recently come out. Well, not recently, but had come out and were still in the public memory because of how much money it was like making and all of the different psychological things it would do. That I would say, in fairness, the vast majority of mobile games do this, but it still doesn't mean it was good. Like, it still doesn't make it like a good reason to be doing this, right? So I do want to give Diablo 4 a try, just to see, like, okay, what's the deal with it, right? And if I can play it without having to actually pay them, while they're under new leadership, then that's perfect. Another one that I'm kind of hoping they'll add as well is Overwatch 2, because I do want to give that a try. My friend Onyx is, you know, he's doing well off of playing Valorant, right? And I've looked at Valorant and I've thought like, oh, maybe I should give it a try. But to me, it's too CS:GO like, and I feel like I would just do horrendously. Now, he'll say I'm being self-deprecating by saying that, but like, I just think I'm being realistic in this situation. I've seen my skill, and my skill is not incredible. Which is a severe understatement in this situation. We've got a situation here where, like, when it comes to first-person shooters, I am horrendous. Back in the day, I've talked about this before in Call of Duty, I would just sort of, like, go around with a shotgun, but not do it in the cool way that people were doing it, where what they'd do is they'd go, like, they used the shotgun as this random, like, really long-ranged weapon. No, what I was doing was I was going just up to people's faces and hoping that they didn't notice me, and then I'd shoot them in the face and I'd get a kill every, like, 5 deaths, right? Yeah, but they would use it as a sniper rifle. That was what they used to do in COD. Is they used to use because of how shitty the range was, like, for the well, not how shitty, but how absolutely long the shotgun range was. They would just use it as a sniper rifle, which is quite funny, but it is not what I was doing in those kinds of games. And so I thought maybe, like, instead of Valorant, giving Overwatch a try is a possibility. But I only feel I don't want to pay money for it, so I feel like I'd only do it if they specifically added it to the Game Pass. But that's the only time. Hero shooters are neat, but I want my hero shooters to have more abilities, and for it to be more hero than it is shooter. And I think that Valorant leads more to the shooter side that happens to have powers, whereas I think Overwatch leans more to the heroes. Or, yeah, Gundam Evolution was a great combo. A great version of that. I loved Gundam Evolution. God, I miss that game. What do I want to play? He's not mana thirsted. Just to check, this doesn't give me mana thirst, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay, right, we're playing Big Monkey. Big Monkey hit there. I thought, do you see, I don't know why, I thought there was initial cost to that game. For some reason I thought that game had an initial cost and then there was a bunch of stuff you had to buy in addition to it. Did they make it free to play for the second game? Well, if that's so, I might actually just give it a try. I don't know why, in my head it was like you paid money, and then in addition to paying money, you also had to pay extra stuff. But fair enough. I think maybe am I thinking of the first game? Was the first game like you paid and then you had to pay extra? I think it might have been the first game. So yeah, I might give that a try. Maybe see if that's any good. But I mean, obviously, as with like all games, when you look at stuff like this, you only ever see the bad stuff. And so, when I like watch people play that game, it's always just people going like, yeah, paladins as well. I haven't looked into like really like what paladins is, but I definitely give that a try as well. You always see the worst groups when you are watching people play it, though, right? And so I've watched people play high level Overwatch, and there's there's really toxic people in there. So I might try Overwatch. I might try Paladins. And I might if it's true that on the Game Pass they're going to be adding Diablo 4, which I only saw as a rumor, but if it's true, then I'll also be playing that. Yeah, maybe. I might be okay with Valorant, but I don't know. I think I want to try the more hero shooters before trying the more shootery one. If that makes any sense. I will say, another thing I want to try is, I don't know if it's out already or if it's going to be out. Going to be out soon. But whenever they do the Smite 2, I want to give that a try. Because I've never got into Smite normally, and so it might be interesting to see how that is. Actually, wait. Let me just do one thing. There, cool. Now you can see me. I forgot to go into a Discord so that you could see my icon. I don't think it makes a huge difference, but you know. But yeah, I will. I'll definitely give the new Smite a try as well, because that looks interesting. I think that might be a bit more in the wheelhouse of being like a fun short game instead of it being like a long sort of game like the Dotas and the League of Legends are. I could be completely wrong, but that was the impression I got of Smite. Is it's a more shorter, like more, I'm not gonna say more fun, but like more like happy sort. I don't know. It looks more like upbeat of a game as well. Also, I'm a big fan of like mythology and gods and stuff, and so making it so I can play one of those, it's really up my alley. So they're potentials. I may play those as like a surprise stream or maybe on a Monday thing. I don't feel like I want to be playing a really competitive game on a Monday though, and so they probably will be maybe a Saturday or Sunday stream as just like a one-off. But yeah, it's wait, discover a minion deck. Does it really though, or does it get you depressed when you lose over and over again? This one. I don't think this will be in the thing. Shuffle to the bottom of the deck. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely want to give these a try, and obviously if I play them with friends, it'll always be good. But I'm definitely considering giving those a try, because I do want to try a more competitive game, seeing as I fell out of love with, because they said they weren't going to add anything. I sort of stopped playing Omega Strikers, and I stopped playing Gundam because it literally ended. And they were my competitive games, right? They were the ones that I would go into it and I'd go, okay, I'm going to try and earnestly play some competitive. Most of the time I was only ever good with one guy, but I think I was quite good in Gundam Evolution, actually. I would say that I'm pretty decent at that. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not great when you get into a game and then like half a year later it's like, yeah, the game's going out of service. That's never good. And then Mega Strikers does the exact same thing. But hey, who was the one who blimmin' showed me all those games? Is it me that's cursed? Is it me that's cursed, or is it you that's cursed? Because you're the one who told me about both of those games. So it's entirely possible. It might be you that's cursed. That's a great counterpoint. Fair enough. But yeah, I want to expand what I play, because obviously this stream is supposed to be like a comfort, I'll play what I want to play just to relax kind of stream. Like it's a Monday, I'm gonna play what I want to play kind of stream. You know what? I would love it if this could hit on a 5-3 or a 3-3. And not the 1-1. Perfect. Cool. But like I still want to like expand what I actually play. And so having like not a regular series of me just trying new stuff, but like taking the extra sort of initiative to try some other stuff feels like a step in the right direction. I feel like this is another one of the computers. He seems like he's using the base deck, and the way he moves to point at stuff feels very sudden, and the naming scheme feels like one you'd put in when you were just making an AI. I don't know, there's a part of me that thinks that. It's a bot, right? Yeah, I thought so. I mean, this kind of name, I don't know, it for me feels like it's obviously a bot. But that's fine. I get wins against bots, so I take those. I take those wins. But yeah, I think it was a good shout mentioning Paladins, actually, because that is a game that got so overshadowed that I just never thought about it after its initial release. I never thought of it because it just got overshadowed by, I think, Overwatch 1? It would have gotten overshadowed by? And that one seems like it's a bit more of a... It's very much like a proper MOBA style, and I think it's got a pretty big cult following. Like, I say cult following, but that just means following. It has a big following. That's like pretty good at that game, and I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard about any like toxicity with that game, because you know occasionally you can have with like a small but like devoted group, they can be quite like toxic to new people. But I haven't heard anything bad about them, so I think I could give that game a go. And I imagine that the game, probably the only microtransactions are new characters and cosmetics, if I had to guess. I'm kind of hoping it's just cosmetics, but I bet you it's not. I bet you it's cosmetics and new characters. You know, I didn't realize this, but I only found out recently that they're only now are they making it so in Overwatch you can actually earn all the new heroes. So that I think before that you had to pay for all the heroes, or at least buy the battle pass to get them. And only now have they allowed it so that you can earn them all without paying, I think. I know, it's incredibly cringe. I do think it is notable though that this stuff has started happening almost immediately after they got bought by Microsoft. Yeah, it's a gameplay benefit. It's horrendous. But I do think it is notable that they are changing up what they're doing. Also, yes, without a doubt, with every game, whenever there's a new champion, they're overpowered. It's true. There's never a situation where you're like, oh, they've added this new champion and it's not overpowered. It happens in everything. League of Legends, Dota, I imagine in Valorant, I don't know. But I know it happens in League, I know it happens in Dota. It definitely happened in Overwatch from the brief bits I learned about the new guy, Marga, or whatever his name is. I just call him The Rock, because he just looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, locking that out... Okay, so they are a bit better in they are a bit better of at making it so that it's a bit fairer. That's good. That's a good thing, because that's... Yeah, I mean, from what you were talking about with the new person, they seemed very powerful, but you never know until you've actually played them. There's many times where people have been like, oh, this is very, very powerful as a champ or something, and then you've actually played it and you've gone, people have actually played it and they've gone, actually, they're not like, they're good, but they're not like, if I use like a Magic the Gathering term, there's many cards that people have gone, this is insane, and then they've played it and they've gone, actually it's too slow. Once it's gotten to the point where like you can actually play it, it's not fast enough to actually win you the game, and then just people beat you. You can have that with other situations. I'm 90% sure this person's also a bot, because I'm pretty sure I fought this person. I think they'll still beat me though. But yeah, I definitely want to give... There is a part of me that really wants to try out those sort of MOBA style games, or just like hero shooters, that kind of like franchise. Look, the thing is that people don't talk about as much is that Hearthstone actually has a horrendous problem when it comes to bots. Like, a lot of the early ranks are just bots. That just sort of like they have not been very good at dealing with. Every time they deal with bots, people are like, well, you haven't dealt with all of them. There's still so many. Yeah, it's horrendous. And so you also add in the fact that I'm pretty sure in the earlier ranks, I could be wrong about this, but I think in the earlier... I'm gonna do this. In the earlier like ranks, they do just add bots to sort of like, you know how like in not Fallout, in Fortnite, if you're like low ranked, they just put a load of like computers in your game, and it makes you feel like you're incredibly powerful, but actually what's happening is you're just dealing with a load of computers that just like look at you, take like 3 seconds to aim, and then eventually shoot. What's this? It dies after taking damage. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I think it's a general, like... Not only is it there to make your times a bit quicker, but it's also there to make you continue to play, right? If you play your first game and you're dominating, people are like, oh, I must be great at this, I want to play it more. And then you actually get to the actual people, and then you realise that you were not very good. And you were fighting people that were facing you, proceeding to shoot either side of you for about 2 seconds, and then taking a shot at you. I've always wondered, like, how they make AI, how they make computers that are made to be dumb. Like, do they have them roll a dice to see if they shoot at you at all? Or, like, how do you program something like that? It must be, like, really hard to program something to be dumb. You know what I mean? Like, that feels like something that is a very specialist sort of, like, thing to do. I mean, I can send it into this guy now. I don't think this will be helpful. Yeah, I guess it's something like that, right? It must be that you come up with, like, the parameters that you want it to be like, and then you go, okay, this is the AI we want, and then you adjust it depending on what difficulty they want to play on. Because in some games, like, that's not really a thing. So take, like, if you take, like, Scorn, for example, the game we played, that I was talking about before, like, effectively just Hades. So take Hades. When you get close to an enemy, it shows that thing they're going to attack, and then they do their attack. Like, that's not AI being smart or dumb. So the only way they can up that is by upping damage or amounts of enemies. But in some games where it is about shooting, it's a whole different thing. What's this? So any takes exactly one, they die. That's bad. This is bad because they have no spells. Sure, I'll play him. Why not? But yeah, I've also been, throughout the week, been playing a lot of this. Just sort of like, it's very good to play casually, and with all these decks, like, they're not meta decks, right? They're not very, very powerful. But it's also something no one's expecting, right? So I go into this and I bring a deck that's got like 20 cards instead of 30. And it's the whole point of it is that I'm supposed to get rid of them as soon as possible. And then have all of these cards that are really good when my deck is empty. People just don't think to prepare against that. They're not used to it. And so I have been able to sneak a couple wins in. Although a lot of them has been against computers. Because, I mean, I can't do anything about that. I've never played this before, so my rank is by far the lowest that you can physically get. Draw 2 cards, sure. Maybe they'll have an answer to this. That's not an answer. That's kind of an answer. It's not objection. Yay, it was an objection. Cute face, I guess. But yeah, this has been quite fun, and it's been a bit something a bit different from Battlegrounds, because Battlegrounds, until a new season comes out, I think I'm getting a bit sick of it. Not like to the point where I hate it, but like to the point where it feels like it's becoming a bit samey because I know all of the cards. And when that happens, I normally take not a complete break, but I don't play it as much, and then I come back later. Besides, I've got so many games to play at this point. I've got Monster Hunter Rise, I've got Blimmin' Fallout. So I'm in a situation where I've got plenty of games to play. It's why it doesn't feel horrendously bad about the whole Dragon's Dogma thing. Because I don't think, realistically, I was going to get the game anytime soon. Like, I'm not one of those people that's all about, like, waiting until it's, like, on sale before doing anything. But I am one of those people that... let's just do this. Just do aggressive trades, and then... let's play Sith. But I am one of those people that's like, I'm not going to buy this game if I'm not going to play it, right? And so... I already have my RPG that I'm playing at the moment, and I already have my backup RPG, which is, you know, respectively, it's Rogue Trader and then Baldur's Gate. And so there wasn't anything that any chance I was going to buy it either way. So it being bad and it being like a horrendous money grabbing opportunity isn't like a huge deal in my books for me, because I was never going to play it. At least I wasn't going to play it for a while. I'll be honest, I probably was never going to play it. It's an RPG, and sure, I really like RPGs, but the fact that it's an action RPG definitely means it's a lot less likely. Just because I always feel like I don't have the reflexes for them. And I'm sure I actually do, and I'm sure it's more just like I don't actively read enough about like how you do the abilities. It's like I don't remember which Final Fantasy this is. I think it's not the latest Final Fantasy, but it's the Final Fantasy before that. It's the one where they're all boy bands. I don't know if that narrows it down, but like they're all boy bands and they have like a car that they use. Random enemies. Sure, let's play you. But in that one, I tried playing it because it was on the Game Pass. And, yeah, okay, it was a counter spell. I tried playing that because it was on the Game Pass, and it's just this high-octane game, and I just for some reason, I just couldn't get the hang of it at all. And that was before they added, like, all this, like, special... I'm sure there was some sort of, like, materia, slotting into weapons and stuff, right? That kind of, like, enchantment system that it goes needlessly complicated, but, like, the people who know it know it. So I didn't even get to that point, and I was still, like, not really understanding the basic tutorial. And when that happens, I realised just the game is not for me, right? If I can't get through the tutorial, obviously the game's not for me. I wonder if this means the game's crashed, or if they're just not there, or they're taking their time. I'm hoping it just means that they're taking their time and the rope will appear. Yep, there it is. Cool. Because this game, even though it's made by Blizzard, it has crashed on me a decent amount of times. It's not like a big deal because you can just reconnect really quickly, but it's not been foolproof when it comes to that. It might be because this game is technically 10 years old. Which is insane to me because I remember when this came out. It's insane to think that I remember this game coming out and it's blooming 10 years old. It definitely doesn't make me feel old, I'll tell you that much. In fact, like, seeing as this seems to be becoming games I want to give a try stream, I need to go back and finish the story of Guild Wars 2, because I bought that and I was having a lot of fun with Guild Wars, and then something came up, some other game came up that we started playing, I think, as a group, and I just sort of, it was one of those ones where I was like, I'll come back to this, and then I just never came back to it. And I definitely want to give that a try. I feel like this person's going to be using a meta deck. I just have that feeling. But yeah, I need to go back to Guild Wars because I was having a lot of fun with it. I don't know how... I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this, but I don't know how much of the mechanics I really knew. And the reason I say that is because I think to a certain extent I was playing a kind of build that meant that I didn't need to care about a lot of the mechanics, in the sense that I was playing like a ranger that had a crossbow, and I had a pet that effectively tanked for me. And so I was never really in a situation where I had to learn how to really dodge too much, because they were always hitting my companion, and I was never in a situation where really I was ever properly taking damage a lot of the time. Because at the end of the day, if I was playing correctly, I was always away from the battlefield, right? I was always far away shooting them with my crossbow or something. But that game did a very good job of making you feel like you're in a... I'd say more so than even Final Fantasy, which I think is like... Final Fantasy's up there as like one of the poster childs for like making a MMO that both keeps your attention but also like actually has stuff in it that... It's the poster boy of like always having something that you could technically be doing. And making all of that fun. Oh, Illidan, thank you. I think it does the community sort of like... I don't know what you'd call them, like community events, but not like the special events, but I mean like you're in a random area and it's like, oh no, the farm's being attacked by bandits, go help. I think it does that by far the best. I think I felt a lot more like I was part of a group when I was doing that than I think I have in any of the other MMOs I've played. Now, admittedly, I have played... Of my highest cost? That's bad. Why did I play that? Oh, I screwed myself over there. Admittedly, I have not played a lot of, I've played maybe 4 MMOs, technically. Maybe, no, 5 MMOs. I've played World of Warcraft, but I only ever played the trial. But that one had little to no community things in it, at least from my perspective. I played, Neverwinter, which, again, it had very little, if any, community sort of grouping. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure at the very least that it had almost no community stuff to it. If it did, it didn't have much, right? I played Star Wars The Old Republic, which that game I effectively played as a solo player game, like a single player game, because there's raids and stuff. Like, I'm not talking about raids, because all of these games have raids of some variety where you play them as a group. I'm talking like you're in an area and there's a community thing and you've all got to work together to deal with said community thing. And Final Fantasy did have these, but they felt, maybe because I had more experience with it and I had played it for longer, that it felt more of a samey when it came to that. Came to Final Fantasy. And the combat in Guild Wars is also quite unique in my opinion. 3. Okay, yeah, this is what I have to do. At least for me. So I definitely need to give that a shot at some point. I don't know when I'll go back to it, because at this point I've got so many blooming games to play at this point. But it's definitely on my list to play. Mainly because, I mean, I've spent money on that game. I want to give it a try. Plus the PvP for surprisingly was like, yeah, this is a bot. Okay, cool. You know it's a bot when they make they make random mistakes, you know. It's not like, I'm not like, oh, they're a bot because they made a mistake. It's the robot because they've made a fundamental mistake in that shouldn't be a thing you make. Come on, show me the sad pop music. Oh shit. Okay, well we'll use this pop music then. Who do I need to hit into? You into you, because you'll die. And then we'll do this. Pop. Bang. We've got a 6/6 pop star. But yeah, it's definitely on my list to play. I just need to find some time to give it a shot. If I'm being honest, I've definitely gained a hankering as well to play like sort of like, I don't know what you call the style, but like the RPG that's very much like the like Shadowrun and like Rogue Trader. The sort of the top down, you got a group with you, sort of like RPG style, that kind of one. I've got a hankering to play more of those as well, just because I've just had so much fun with Rogue Trader, and I had so much fun back in the day when I played Shadowrun. It's honestly one of those games that I put in like, it's probably in my top 10 for games that I've played. Just because it's one of those, it's just one of those solid games where like all of the characters are interesting, all of the, even like the side story stuff is really interesting, and I'd highly recommend giving it a try if you haven't already. Okay, I've just got to mitigate damage and hope that I get some sort of lifesteal of some variety. There's not a lot of direct damage in Warrior. But yeah, I find all the Shadowrun games to be very, very good. I think the I don't remember which one it is, but the one where you fight all the insect spirits is probably the better of all of them. That's not to say any of the others are bad, just that they are not as good as that one. And that sort of like top-down game, like long form RPG, it definitely scratches an itch. Especially most of the time they are turn-based, but especially if it's turn-based. And so if I can find another one like that in like that has lore that I really like and that I haven't already played, because like I've played Pillars of Eternity, I've played Pillars of Eternity 2, because I think that's the only one with turn-based. I've played obviously all the Shadowruns. I've tried to play the Pathfinder ones, and I've mentioned it before, I couldn't get into them. So those ones are sort of off the table. Ooh, armor. I didn't think about getting armor. Like, that's perfect. Okay, I feel safe now. I mean, he is at 1, so that makes sense. And so I've played quite a lot of those styles of games, which is probably the reason why I can't easily find one. I might start dipping my toe into the sort of like the more Japanese style RPGs, just to see if I can get my sort of my scratch my RPG itch from those ones. I just got to make sure that one of the things that they have to be, like, they have to do quite well in these things is they have to make it. This is gonna sound like I'm being like stupid, or I'm thinking of myself too low or something. But they have to be to the point where I can play them and not feel like and actually get through the game without too much of a problem. So like Shadowrun, I don't think there was a single time where I had a real problem with like a boss or an enemy. I felt like I could do what I wanted to do with my character, and I felt like I had to think about my turns, but I never felt like I was in a hopeless situation. Whereas on the flip side, if I look at like games like I guess Pathfinder is one of the best examples, but like games like that, it's sort of the reverse, where I started to lose, and eventually did lose, my interest in them because they got to a point where not only did the thing feel challenging, but it felt like insurmountable to that level, right? I will say one thing with that's a bit, I guess, a bit weird about like my preferences with this stuff is it completely changes if you put me with somebody else who is playing the game with me. At that point, like, send us against like the strongest enemies and the hardest bosses, because one of the funnest things I do with like friends is when we're in a situation where it's like, this is an insurmountable task. How do we deal with it? Like, I was back when I was playing Baldur's Gate with one of my friends, having it on like a really hard difficulty, and like trying to get through that was really, really fun. It's just not for everyone, right? Because some people just don't like getting frustrated, and I don't blame them, because I'll be honest, I don't like getting frustrated either when I'm playing on my own. It's a different story when I'm not playing on my own. One of the funnest things I did was, I was playing with one of my friends through Divinity Original Sin 2, and I went through it on like one of the hardest difficulties, and it was so fun, absolutely so fun. And going after those bosses that you're not like are supposed to be this big challenge, and when you eventually beat them and you feel like you're a blimmin' superstar because of it, that's the feeling I love in those kinds of games. That only works when I'm playing with a friend. If I'm not playing it with a friend, if the game is getting frustrating, I'm probably going to drop it. I don't have a great attention span, and you know, if you've gotten to the point where I'm actually playing the game, then you've already done so much better than some people. Most games, because most of the time I just sort of like, I'll think, oh, I'll play this, and then I'll never play it. I think that's one of the biggest problems with RPGs, actually. The amount of RPGs I've played through, like, I'd say maybe 70% of the game, and then either there's been a decision they've done that I haven't liked, or I've gotten to a point in the game where I'm just not having fun with the boss because I've died a couple times to it, and I've just gone, like, fuck, screw it, I'm just not going to I'm just going to not play it anymore and go play something where either I can turn my brain off or at least I consistently win. I don't know, it's weird. It's a very thin line in terms of difficulty and a progression with games for me. Because I definitely think that also on the flip side, if the game is well too easy, like I'm never having any problems, it starts to like put me off of it, and I have to be getting my entertainment from some other source. So it's a weird situation. I don't know. It's what do I want to play? I always feel like I don't want to use this because I don't think I regularly play minions like spells over and over again. And the two less honestly doesn't come up too much for me. And they're only really doing 1 damage to me because I heal for 2 every turn. So, you know, it's not too bad. It could indeed be a lot worse. A lot worse. I've been watching a lot of, at work, I've been watching a lot of Adeptus Ridiculous stuff. Just because, I stopped watching it for like, I'd say maybe a year. And now they've just got a load of them backed up that I can just sort of pick and choose the ones I wanna watch. And they did one that I thought was quite interesting, where it was about the Necrons, and it was about all the like information that was added in the new Necron book. And what I thought was quite interesting, that I was surprised that I hadn't seen anyone talk about this, but I mean, I'm not overly going out and looking for this stuff. But apparently in like the 10th edition codex, it's like the first instance where they've potentially shown like what a Necron tier actually looked like. Like the actual, like what they looked like before they became robots. So a quick lore thing for if people don't understand this. This is Warhammer 40k, by the way. The Necrons in Warhammer 40k are robots. They're Egyptian-style robots. They don't have a soul. The whole goal at this point is to try and get their bodies back because they lost them. They got eaten by their former gods, and the whole goal is to find some way of getting their souls back. But we'd never known what they actually looked like before they got their souls snatched and turned into robots. But in the 10th codex, in the 10th edition codex, they show off like they're doing the story of the Silent King, and which is their leader, by the way. It's their sort of like king who technically made the deal with these gods to give them immortality, but not realizing they were going to turn into robots. But also, like, he's grieved for like 10,000 years while they've been asleep, and so kind of a lot of the Necrons have kind of given him a pass. Like, okay, yeah, sure, you fucked us over, but you didn't know you were fucking us over, and you've grieved for blimmin' 10,000 years. Anyway, it's his story, and in the straight middle of like that page, there's a picture of like, it's not a picture of a Necron tier, but it's a picture of like 3 faces, and they're like kind of like burial masks for these faces, but they look notably different from a Necron, while still having a similar Necron look. And people are theorizing that this is actually what they look like, which is very interesting, because apparently that's the first instance that we've ever seen that. I mean, from what I saw of it, they look at kind of what I expected they look like, which is very similar to very similar to, well, what would be the word? Very similar to what to like Necrons, except with more fleshy features and less robotic features, right? But it's interesting to see that, and also to see that, like, obviously the lore in that book, because of how it could easily be propaganda, which is kind of like this thing that they've always said with Warhammer, so that they can retcon stuff if they want to retcon it, right? Because of that, we're not 100% sure if what is said in his story is technically true, but it also says that he, like, when he went on his, effectively he said, after they won against their gods, he was like, the world is screwed up here. Everyone go into like a hibernation for like 40,000 years, and we'll wake up, and then you'll take over the whatever's left, right? And everyone went to sleep except for him. He went on kind of like a pilgrimage to the other, like the other galaxies, effectively away from the Milky Way. And we thought he was just sort of went on like a don't know what you'd call it. I guess like a repentance journey, like a journey for sorry, a journey to sort of repent for what he did. Well, apparently what he was doing was he was going to other galaxies. Sorry, I don't know if it's galaxies, other galaxies. And just sort of like taking over and like killing like worlds to make places that Necrons could live after they've turned into their human, like their like flesh forms. Which is kind of interesting to hear about. Not why it's sort of like completely different to what people expected him to have been doing all that time. Which is kind of cool, because it implies a couple things. For one, it implies that the Silent King is such a Chad that he was taking planets on his own. Like he didn't need like any assistance from anyone else just to take a planet. Like sure, he's got a ship that's pretty powerful, but that means nothing if you're going up against like, assumedly there would be some spacefaring species that he was dealing with. And if he's dealing with some sort of spacefaring species that has access to like if he's dealing with any form of faction, like even like the Tau equivalents in those places, like they're not weak, especially for one guy to deal with, right? What does this do on? Oh, I can do it on my own guys. Yeah, that ain't happening. Let's just get a bit of healing on. But also it implies that for another one of the races, the Tyranids, who are effectively space bugs that people assumed had eaten everything but the Milky Way at this point, because they were coming from multiple sides of the Milky Way. The people were like, okay, they must have. There's a chance that they are literally the last living thing. They've eaten everything else and were the last like bastion of protection against them. It implies that at the very least when he was going around, they weren't the only other thing in the universe, and there was other things, because he was taking and defeating other things. Although it's heavily implied that as soon as he sensed or found out about the Tyranids, he just bailed and immediately went back to his friends and was just like, okay, I can't deal with that on my own. I think I'm gonna lose. I really thought I had a good chance here, but like 4 and then that's 7 and that's 8, 9, 10. Give me something that can answer this. That technically answers it. Oh, I'm screwed. I've screwed myself over. I don't think there was anything I could have done there. I don't think any of those answers would have worked, but still, I just need to gain another light bomb. I don't think I've got another one in the deck, but what's the confusion here? Just hit. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Only either of you had one more attack. I could have dealt with you so much earlier. It's so annoying because you're using the basic deck. Okay. That's useless. But oh well. We're not doing very well today, but could be worse. I knew as soon as I actually started fighting real people, I'd be screwed, but I didn't think I'd get screwed by the blimmin' computer using the basic deck. But what can you do? But yeah, at the very least, there was something there before, and maybe then the Tyranids ate them, but we have no idea. So that was interesting to see, because I kind of didn't expect that I would learn anything new from watching it, and it would just be fun to hear their reactions to stuff. But actually learning something that I didn't know anything about was kind of interesting to see. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun watching them talk about a load of the... I watched one about them talking about the Tau vehicles, which was very funny because they're horrendously impractical. And then like there was one that they were talking about. Oh, they talked about another group that Bricky, one of the people on it, was doing the merchandise for. And so I went to watch them. They were called like Poop Hammer or something, which was a weird name, but I went to watch their stuff, and they had just done their first episode of Age of Sigmar, which is the fantasy version effectively of Warhammer 40k, and they were doing like, what's the appeal of each of these factions, or like what model summarizes what the appeal of this faction is. And watching them do it, I don't know, it on one hand I was like, yeah, you're correct about some of these, but then the ones that they weren't interested in, I kind of felt like they didn't put 100% into, which I understand why, but like they just didn't get the aesthetic. Like they talked about this one faction in the Death Grand Alliance, which by the way, there's 4 Grand Alliances, and then there's like the sub factions under those, right? One of them, the whole point of them is they're made from multiple skeletons of multiple people, and they're supposed to be like the best of the best fighters. It's like supposed to be the undead's equivalent of a regimented army. And they were just calling them like bug exoskeleton skeletons, which I think sort of demerits what they actually are. And I understand I just didn't really get into that stuff, but I don't know, it annoyed me slightly because I think fantasy's always been my go-to, and Age of Sigmar's always been really fun. I haven't painted or gotten any models from either 40k or Age of Sigmar, but I've always been like, it probably would be Age of Sigmar if I got something. Because I always just like fantasy more. Let's play this. Play this and then do this, and so I can kill it next turn. Or at least makes that trade bad. But yeah, it's been very interesting. I've hit a bit of like a roadblock when it comes to World of IO stuff. So obviously I was obsessing about Goblins of IO. Absolutely love Goblins of IO. And I would still recommend that to anyone if they're up for a laugh, and if they don't mind dealing with people that are effectively just learning the rules for the first time. And if both of those things are fine by you, then I would strongly suggest giving it a try. But I've been trying the Misdemeanor, which is supposed to be like the longest running of the series that's ended at this point. It's supposed to be a pirate's adventure, but I find myself, I don't know if maybe my mood stuff just different. Like I'm just in a bad mood at the moment. But I find myself getting really annoyed at slight things. Just little things that I personally just don't like to see. And I know that it's not their fault because they're new to it. But it definitely puts me, it doesn't change the fact that it puts me off it puts me off my my enjoyment of it. So like a little thing like one of the characters, one of the people playing, they're quite boisterous, and I think they're very much like they want to be a part of everything, but it means that like a lot of time people have like they've made perception checks or they've made checks to find out something, and they haven't told the group, and he's just sort of ran with the fact that they've told the group, to the point where the DM has started to go, just remember, you don't know this, they know this. Until they tell you, please stop, like, not to this level, but they've effectively gone, you should stop doing, like, you should remember that you don't know this, you know, like that kind of thing. And I appreciate that they've done that, because it was definitely getting on my nerves, and I had seen it a decent amount in the comments getting on other people's nerves, and so I'm glad that it was brought up and that he sort of was quite stern about it. But it's not just that, it's another little thing that I know that one's a bit more obvious, to the point where the DM's brought it up, right? So I can understand to a certain extent. I can understand that. I can see that one as being realistic, right? One of them that I know is just me, and that is not realistic, is they have this sort of obsession with, if one of them rolls bad, then another one, like say they roll bad in a perception check, they'll go, okay, well then can I do a roll now? And it's like, and then it's like, oh, they failed that one, and then someone else will say, hey, can I do a roll now? And you know, like, there's nothing wrong with that technically. Like, it's something that I've definitely done when I was starting out as well. But I don't know, I saw somewhere the general idea of like, I don't know, it feels a bit, in my opinion, it feels a bit cheap when like you are going out of your way to go, I saw he rolled badly, and so I want to roll. I don't really particularly mind it if people decide at the same time, they're like, hey, I want to roll, hey, I also want to roll. Like, that's not a big deal for me, because that makes sense. Like, you both want to roll on this thing, and you both should get the chance for it. But when it's the active seeing of like, oh, I saw he rolled a 3, I'm not going to trust his opinion on the perception check, because in character you have no reason to distrust him. I'm instead going to do my own roll. Did all of them roll that Divine Shield? Oh no, one of them, two of them rolled Rush. Have you noticed this is the exact same deck again? This must be one of the basic decks. Even though I've lost to it, I don't think it's very good. I'm being completely honest here. So yeah, that's been getting on my nerves, and I think to a certain extent it's not that, if I'm being completely honest. I think to a certain extent it's the time just not getting into the characters. Like, the characters are not connecting to me, even though I've watched so much of it. I feel like it's become more of an obligation than it's become an actual game for me. Like, more than it's been an obligation more than entertainment. Because it sort of became like, well, I have to get through this, because the other bit will not feel as, what's the word? If I don't get through this, then the season 3 that will have references to season 2 I won't get some of the references. And so I felt like, oh, I have to continue through this, and I've chugged along, and I've gotten past like there's 2 major bosses in that season, and I've gotten past the first one. And so, like, they've done their big everyone get together to fight the boss bit for the first one. And I know the second one's coming up because I've watched, obviously, Goblins was in this world, so I've watched it. But I don't know. They're in this negotiation situation, and when the Goblins were doing it, I had no problems. But I just think I just don't like it. It's mean to say, and it's not on any of them. Aelus is a really good character. Like, Captain Armstrong is a really, really fun character. You can see the enthusiasm and the good characters that are there for, like, all of the people there. You know, Leighton, like, as much as I have problems with the person playing it, has had really good moments that have made me go, oh god, this character is actually quite good. But I think it's just that whereas before with the Goblins, the comedy was there to always, no matter if I cared about the story at all, the comedy was there to sort of keep me going. In this one, it's more like the comedy is no longer there because it's not as funny as the Goblins is. It's not really made to be overly funny. Like, Goblins are just people goofing around and doing funny things. Alright, let's see if those guys can survive. I'm hoping they will. Whereas this one's a bit more of like a serious story, which is the norm for his kind of games. Like, the Goblins was the outlier in this. But because the comedy is not there to get me through the more boring stories, at least in my opinion, I'm sort of in a situation where it's just not as... God, he's constantly forging. I'm not getting as into it as I wish I was, you know? And it's really sad because I really think I could get into a pirate adventure. And I do think all the characters are really good, but something's just stopping me. And it's annoying because that happens with a load of games. It happened with High Rollers when I tried to watch that. It happened with Critical Role when I tried to watch that. I wouldn't be surprised, and it seems like it's happening here, but maybe the difference with this one is there's lots of different series that I can do, and there is a chance that I just decide to not continue with that series, and instead I just decide to try a different one, because there's so many I can choose from, right? But we'll see. I'm gonna still try and give it a shot, but I mean, it doesn't help that the reason I started watching Adeptus Ridiculous is because I had gotten to the point in that game in the... Oh, no, 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 no. We don't want to be watching the Loading Ready One do that stuff. There, let's just play this. So yeah, my watch later list, I accidentally put well, I didn't accidentally put it. It was on purpose. I put a Loading Ready One thing to watch, so that's why you saw the very start of it. Please don't sue me, Loading Ready One people. I really didn't do it on purpose. I just really like your stuff and I want to watch it, so I put it on the playlist to watch later. That's really all. But yeah, I'll continue on with it. I watched one of his. He did like a sponsored one for Lords of the Fallen, like a 3-part campaign, and I've watched 2.5 of those parts, and that's really fun. So I don't think it's me getting sick of like his play style. No, I guess play style is the wrong word. Like his DMing. I think it's just that maybe I'm not getting into the the aesthetic of what of what they're doing, it's just not for me. Which isn't me trying to knock the actual thing. I really want to get that out there. Like, all of the characters are really fun. But I don't know. I'm in a situation where we'll have to just give it a bit, right? We'll just have to keep trying on with it and see if we get any further. God, we have not been having a good. I feel like we got like 4 wins in this whole thing, and we've had like at the very least a decent amount of. Do I want to do this? Yeah, let's do it. We've had a decent amount of what's the word? We've had a decent amount of blimmin'. Is this a mech? Oh, that makes me think that maybe it's not a bot. Pardon me. I don't think this is a bot. But yeah, we haven't been doing well. But I that made sense because I was having a lot of fun before because I was effectively just going from bronze to silver. And I think all of bronze is just bots. I mean, it's very likely to be at the very least. God, his hand is just reactive stuff. Like, that's all he's been doing. He's been forging a load of stuff and just sitting there on all his reactive stuff, waiting for me to play something. Miss, thank you. So it's very obvious as soon as I play something, they're like, okay, here's another thing to deal with it. I mean, look at that. There was 2 forms of insta-kill stuff. Yeah, I've got no chance here. I don't even think I've got like the right AoE to deal with this. 8, 4, that's 12. Nope. Cool. I like that because it reminds me of the Jades, but it's not the best deck. I think the best deck of the random decks is the deck that I'm pretty fond of the 2 legendaries one, but I think the best deck is probably the Warlock deck. Because you get rid of your deck so easily by just first turn draw. I draw 1 card which gets 1 out of the deck, and also get rid of 2. And then there's a chance that you hit, like there's a 2 in 20 chance. No, it's even less than that. It's because you draw 5. You have 5 cards at the start, and you start with 3 cards, and you draw 1, so you have 4. And then you draw another one, so it's a 2 in 15 chance, probably, that you might have it in your hand to get the one where if you discard it, you draw 2 cards. And if you draw 2 cards, then you're already down to like 13 cards in your deck. And then all you have to do is you got to get the 3 cards you need. Well, really only 2, which is the one that summons the portal, and then it's the one that redoes your whole deck with cards. And then you're just sitting there with like a portal that summons 3/2s that fill your board every turn. And normally they can't deal with that. Wait, Onyx Wolf? Am I fighting a random chatter? Nah, it's just a very common thing to use. I know for a fact he doesn't have Hearthstone installed, so that would be a really weird long con to install it to just fight me. Also, we would have to have ranked up to this point, which is... That's a lot to do for a bit. I tell you what, obviously there's all this stuff about Dragon's Dogma 1, but I might give Dragon's Dogma 2 a try. Sorry, reverse that. There's loads of stuff going on about Dragon's Dogma 2. I might give Dragon's Dogma 1 a try. Just to see if maybe that one's interesting. Like, everyone has good stuff about that. But I know that Dragon's Dogma's kind of on the more brutal side of games. So, I don't know. It could be fun. Oh, he's not as smart. I thought you were really smart there. Oh, I guess you are smart. It didn't really matter at the end of the day. You're going to clear my board and still have the wolf on the deck, which is incredible. Do I just play that and then refill my hand? I don't think duplicating this hand is particularly entertaining. But I do think getting this card and then doing this, I really hope that's not in my deck. See, this is the problem I've had with this. It's all around having one of each card, right? But if I do that and I shuffle it into my deck now, then until I draw it, I don't have unique cards. Why this deck's not that good, even though it has access to all of the cards that say if you have one of each card in your deck, like only one copy of each other card in your deck, you get special effect. Or like kind of screwed over, because not only this, where you can just make a mistake yourself, but also I mean, it's sad to say, but I've done that a lot, by the way, the screw myself over thing. But also, when you're do I kill this? This saves me 2 damage. That's probably good in the long run. Play that. That'll defend me from a couple attacks. I like this. This feels like a Jazz Zelda thing. Mainly because of the flute. Let's be honest, it's just because of the pan flute. And if this survives, I give it +3 health. Just a bit more of an annoyance to kill. Or maybe I just give... No, I make a 5/7, don't I? I feel like one of these people is a lot more prepared to shield somebody than the other. Look at the difference in sizes of those shields, though. And I do understand that if you're talking practically, actually the one with the smaller shield is probably better with it. Because I know that the later it got in sort of like military, like medieval societies, the smaller the shields actually got. Because maneuverability, I guess, got better, was more important than... maneuverability was more important than having a big shield. Do this, give this a... There, I have a 5/5 and a 5/7. Please respond. Yeah, you can't deal with it, can you? I mean, if my... Because this will be the last game I do, because I'm gonna... I have the past couple weeks been going 2.5 hours, but there's stuff I have to do, so I can't go that much longer. So this will probably be the last one I do. So the fact that I'm... The one dude that joined me in the chat, I'm fighting somebody that has the same starting name as them is kind of hilarious. Like, they both start with Onyx. It'd be hilarious to end on that. What happens if I get the upgrade of that? Is it 2 1/1s? Because that's still pretty good. I want the heal. You can have a Divine Shield. And also have a heal. Yeah, I actually thought about that for a second and didn't just default heal myself. Which is pretty good. Because I'll be honest, instinctively I would have default healed myself. It was a good thing I didn't do that. Ugh. I don't think this is a bot. Mainly because I think the naming schemes of bot are like just gibberish. And if they're not gibberish, when they're like called like the same way that my name's Sneaky Turtle, where it's just adjective noun, and they've done the same where it's just well, I guess it's not adjective noun, but like describer noun. I think that's literally what an adjective is the describing word. But you know what I mean, because like I don't know if you would consider that an adjective. Anyway, when it's like that, I think generally that's just a naming scheme that they've done randomly for making a Blizzard account. Because I know that's how I got my name either. I don't remember which one it was. It was either when I used a random Xbox username generator, because I never had an Xbox username back in the day, so I didn't have one I could use off the cuff to make this, and I wanted to be like the same as everyone else in my group. Or it was when they literally had a randomizer you could pick in this game. It's one of the two. Sorry, when I was making this account. It's one of the two. I'll play Golden Monkey Lady. And I'll give a Divine Shield. Bam! You're on a 3-turn clock. Beat my 3-5 with Divine Shield and my 3-2. I doubt you can, because Demon Hunter kind of loses as soon as they get past early game. And don't have like access to like a bunch of cards that they can play down. I mean, you did play that wolf, who I think is like a 6 or 7 mana card, so if they all die, 7 more appear. That's kind of cool. You'll get 7 more if you aren't incredibly slow here. There's not really a particular order here. You have enough where they all die, and I get 7 more. Go on, hit them all into the thing. It's the right decision. Come on. Maybe they're playing on mobile. You know, it's probably that, because they're taking like slow, methodic turns that I don't think actually a bot would actually do. It more comes across somebody that's trying to drag on a screen that's quite tiny to get all the hits in. It's a shame, because I think they would have been able to use these again to hit my guy, because they also have rush. And I think they've just realised that, because I think that's why they were hovering over. I mean, good job. Try hitting them all into that guy again. If you lose 5 of them into that guy, it's done its job. I mean, I do wish it was slightly faster. Maybe I'm being a bit too mean. I mean, I definitely am. That's definitely what's happening here. I'll be honest, I'm just glad that I've got a stream on and there's not any particular problems with it. Oh, I forgot to mention, I won't be able to do, just heads up, I will tweet about this and make sure it's on the schedule, but I won't be able to do our next Monday stream at the usual time, because I am going into an escape room around the time where I'd start, so I won't be able to do the stream at the normal time. I will get probably will get one stream in at some point over that day, because it is a bank holiday and so I'd have a lot of time. I'd probably do it a bit earlier. So we will have something, we will have a stream on that day, but it might not be at the right time. I will keep it up to a date on Twitter and stuff in the next couple of days about like what time the replacement one will probably be a bit last minute, because it's really depending on what we do on that day. But I will keep you up to date on Twitter of like, I will mention that I won't be able to do it on that day, right? So I just thought I'd mention it because I keep forgetting to. Anyway, that's me for today. First stream I've done since I got rid of the viewer count, just because I was getting too self-conscious about it, and I think it was a good idea. Anyway, I hope everyone's had a good time. I certainly have had a good time, and I will see you on Wednesday for more Rogue Trader. But until then, bye!